If there is one story in Nigeria today that has every political observer, every legal analyst, every journalist, and every ordinary citizen absolutely glued to their screens, it is the story of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai and the explosive new details emerging from the ICPC's investigation into him. Because today, Monday, March 2, 2026, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission walked into a Federal Capital Territory High Court and made a disclosure that changes the entire complexion of this case. They found wiretapping equipment at El-Rufai's home. Electronic magnetic devices allegedly capable of intercepting and tapping private telephone conversations were recovered from his residence at number 12 Mambua Street, Aso Drive, Asokoro District, Abuja. And if that alone was not enough to make your jaw drop, El-Rufai himself, in a previous appearance on Arise Television, reportedly admitted to tapping the phone conversations of National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu. Let that land for a moment. A former governor, currently in ICPC custody on corruption charges, had wiretapping equipment in his house, and he is on national television admitting to having monitored the telephone conversations of the man who is Nigeria's chief security advisor. To fully appreciate the weight of what is happening today, you need to understand the full sequence of events that brought us to this courtroom moment. El-Rufai returned to Nigeria from abroad on February 5, 2026, landing at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. The ICPC had already received a petition against him alleging serious corrupt practices during his time as a two-term governor of Kaduna State, and the commission had been conducting preliminary investigations. The moment he landed, ICPC operatives contacted the Department of State Services to assist in arresting him at the airport, but that first attempt failed and he slipped through. The commission then located his Asokoro residence, formally served him with an invitation letter to appear before them on February 13 at 10 a.m. His lawyers negotiated and the date was pushed to February 18. But before that date arrived, El-Rufai had already responded to a separate invitation from the EFCC and was detained there. He was later granted administrative bail by the EFCC but could not meet the bail conditions, so he remained in EFCC custody. Then, on the evening of February 18, at approximately 7 p.m., he was transferred from the EFCC to the DSS, who then handed him over to the ICPC. The next day, February 19, the ICPC obtained a 14-day remand order from a magistrate court in Buari and simultaneously executed a search warrant at his Asokoro home, a search carried out in the presence of his wife Hadiza Ismail El-Rufai and his son Mohammed Bello El-Rufai. That is when the wiretapping equipment and the sensitive security documents were found, documents the ICPC says are capable of compromising national security. The ICPC has now told the court that El-Rufai has refused to cooperate with their investigation from the very start. He has declined to respond to any interview questions, he has refused to give consent for investigators to access the recovered devices, and his aide, who is linked to the investigation, has fled the country, a detail the ICPC specifically brought before the court as evidence of the need for continued detention and thorough investigation. If the depth of this story and the significance of what is unfolding in Nigerian politics right now is the kind of coverage that matters to you, please subscribe to this channel right now and hit that notification bell, because this case is moving to a critical stage and every single development from here needs to be followed closely. The corruption allegations against El-Rufai extend far beyond the wiretapping equipment. The ICPC has outlined three major financial questions it wants answered. First, the alleged disappearance of 1.4 million euros. Second, 180 suspicious payments totaling over 2,158 million naira from a consolidated revenue account linked to Kaduna State internally generated revenue account. Third, transfers amounting to over 428 million naira to undisclosed and unidentified accounts. Those three pillars of financial allegations form the core of the corruption case the ICPC says it is building against him. El-Rufai's own response to all of this is bold and direct. In a sworn affidavit before the court, he declared that he is a leading member of the African Democratic Congress, which he described as the only surviving opposition party in Nigeria. And he said plainly that this is the real reason he is being investigated. He said the investigations do not amount to law enforcement. He called it political persecution. He invoked his right to silence on the advice of his lawyers. He said he will respond only in court, and he has filed a 1 billion naira fundamental fundamental human rights enforcement suit against the ICPC alleging unlawful invasion of his residence and unconstitutional detention. The ICPC has responded by asking the court to throw out that suit and let them finish the investigation, promising to file formal charges before March 5, the date the 14-day remand order expires. Here is the question for Nigeria today. Do you think the discovery of wiretapping equipment in a former governor's home, combined with his alleged admission to tapping the NSA's phone calls, is evidence of the kind of deep political surveillance and power plays that have been shaping Nigeria's politics behind closed doors for years? And do you believe El-Rufai's claim that this is political persecution, or do you believe the evidence being assembled by the ICPC tells a different story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this video so every Nigerian following this landmark case gets the full picture. Like it if this breakdown covered everything you needed, and stay subscribed because March 5 is just 3 days away and formal charges are expected before that deadline arrives.